In this way, imitation serves as both a starting point and a bridge to the deeper, more personal process of mastering a craft. Application and adaptation represent a pivotal stage in the mastery of any skill or craft. While imitation provides the foundation by helping learners internalize basic techniques and principles, it is through the application and adaptation of those skills that true proficiency begins to take shape. This stage requires the learner to go beyond merely replicating what they have observed and to start applying their knowledge in real-world contexts, where challenges are more nuanced and often unpredictable. The process of applying what has been learned in various settings and then adapting it to suit different situations fosters a deeper understanding of the craft and begins to transform the learner into an independent practitioner capable of handling complex problems. At this stage, the individual takes the skills they have acquired through imitation and starts to apply them in practical situations. In doing so, they encounter challenges that require them to think critically and make decisions independently. These situations often deviate from the controlled environment of practice, introducing variables and constraints that the learner must navigate. Whether it's a musician interpreting a piece for a live audience, a software developer writing original code for a specific project, or an athlete adapting to the strategy of an opponent, the ability to apply skills in dynamic, real-world conditions is crucial for growth. This is where the learner moves from theoretical knowledge to practical expertise. One of the key elements of this stage is problem solving. In practice, real-world applications rarely unfold exactly as they do in training or imitation exercises. Variables such as time constraints, resource limitations, or unexpected challenges force the individual to adapt their approach to fit the situation. For example, a carpenter who has learned traditional woodworking techniques through imitation might face a project where the materials available are different from those they trained with, or the design specifications are more complex than anything they've encountered before. In such cases, the carpenter must adapt their techniques, potentially modifying tools or methods to achieve the desired result. This problem-solving process is essential for deepening the learner's understanding of the craft because it requires them to think flexibly and creatively within the constraints of their field. The process of adaptation is not simply about making minor adjustments, but involves a deeper, more analytical approach to understanding the nuances of a situation. It requires the learner to assess what is working and what needs to be changed, and then apply modifications that maintain the integrity of the skill while adjusting to the new context. Adaptation is an active, reflective process where the individual must draw on their foundational knowledge, experiment with different approaches, and refine their techniques based on feedback from the environment or results. This process often involves trial and error, with the learner making mistakes and learning from them, which in turn helps them develop a more nuanced understanding of their craft. In many fields, adaptation also involves customizing skills to meet the specific needs of a client, audience, or problem. This requires a level of mastery beyond simply knowing how to execute techniques. For instance, a graphic designer might have mastered the tools of their trade through imitation, but applying those skills to design a brand identity for a client involves adapting their knowledge to align with the client's vision, industry trends, and target audience. This kind of adaptation requires not just technical expertise, but also a deep understanding of the context in which their work will be used, as well as the ability to communicate and collaborate with others to achieve the desired outcome. It is this blending of technical skill with contextual understanding that marks the transition from competent practitioner to expert. Adaptation is also crucial in fields that require creativity or innovation. For instance, a jazz musician who has learned the basics of improvisation through imitation must apply those skills in a live performance, where they are expected to respond to the music in real time, adapt to the contributions of other musicians, and create something unique on the spot. This requires not only technical skill, but also the ability to think creatively, making spontaneous decisions that enhance the overall musical experience. In this way, adaptation becomes a pathway to originality as the individual takes what they have learned and uses it as a springboard for creating something new and personal. Another important aspect of adaptation is the ability to transfer skills across different domains or contexts. This process, often referred to as skill transfer, involves applying principles or techniques learned in one area to another, sometimes entirely different area. For example, a skilled public speaker who has mastered the art of engaging an audience might apply those communication skills to a leadership role, using their ability to connect with people to inspire and motivate a team. Similarly, a chess player who has developed strong strategic thinking might adapt those problem-solving skills to business or finance, where long-term planning and tactical decisions are crucial for success. Adaptation through skill transfer allows individuals to leverage their expertise in one field to excel in others, further expanding their mastery. Furthermore, application and adaptation are closely linked to the concept of deliberate practice. While basic practice focuses on repeating tasks to build competence, deliberate practice involves focusing on specific areas that need improvement and adapting techniques to overcome challenges. At this stage, the learner is no longer practicing passively, but is actively seeking out ways to refine their skills and address weaknesses. This type of practice requires constant feedback, whether from mentors, peers, or self-assessment, and it often involves pushing beyond comfort zones to achieve greater levels of proficiency. The process of deliberate practice reinforces the idea that mastery is not achieved simply by repeating what works, but by continually adapting and refining one's approach based on new challenges and insights. In professional settings, adaptation also plays a significant role in leadership and decision-making. Leaders often find themselves in situations where they must apply their skills in unfamiliar or rapidly changing environments. Effective leaders are those who can quickly adapt to new information, changing circumstances, and diverse team dynamics, all while staying focused on achieving their goals. This ability to apply knowledge flexibly and adaptively is what allows leaders to navigate uncertainty and guide their teams to success. For example, a business executive who has learned to manage a stable organization may need to adapt their strategies when facing a disruptive market shift, requiring them to apply their leadership skills in new and innovative ways. In addition to enhancing individual performance, application and adaptation often lead to a greater sense of ownership over the craft. As learners apply their skills in varied and unpredictable settings, they begin to take responsibility for their own development and growth. They are no longer relying on external guidance or simply following the models they have imitated. Instead, they are making decisions based on their own judgment and experience. This sense of ownership is empowering, as it marks the transition from being a learner to being a practitioner with autonomy and expertise. Ultimately, application and adaptation are crucial steps in the journey toward mastery because they allow individuals to move beyond the foundational stage of imitation and start making the craft their own. These processes encourage deeper engagement with the material, requiring learners to think critically, solve problems, and create something that is both technically sound and uniquely personal. By applying and adapting their skills in real-world context, individuals not only deepen their understanding, but also develop the flexibility and creativity necessary to excel at the highest levels of their field.